Alright, so today we're going to learn about graphing linear functions that are in slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So m, that stands for slope. It has an equation, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. What the slope does is it tells you how to get from one point to the next. And then the next value that you need to know is b. So b is your number that's by itself without the x, and that's your y-intercept. What the y-intercept does is it tells you where to begin on the y-axis. So you always start on the y-axis first at this number, and then from this number, from the y-intercept, you apply the slope to it. Alright, so let's say, for example, we have y equals 2 over 3x minus 4. So we're going to draw a little graph. We have to identify two things. We have to identify our slope and also our y-intercept. So slope, you can figure that out based off of the number that's directly in front of x. As long as your equation's in slope-intercept form, you have to have y by itself, and then from there, your slope is the number that's directly in front of x, which is 2/3. Slope always needs to be a fraction. It's rise over run. Your y-intercept is the number without the x. In this case, it's -4. Make sure you have that negative sign. So our graph has a y-axis going up and down. Y-axis always goes up and down. X-axis goes side to side. So our y-intercept is -4. That means on this line, we're going to start at -4. So on the y-axis, you count down to 4. -1, -2, -3, -4. Put a dot there. From that dot, our slope is 2 over 3. So we're going to rise 2 and run 3. Since it's positive, we go up 2 and to the right 3. Right, so slope is always rise over run. So the top number tells you whether you go up and down. If it's positive, you count up. So in this one, you go up 2, and then you go to the right 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Put your dot. If you want to get to the next dot, you would do the same thing. You would rise 2, 1, 2, and run 3. 1, 2, 3. The more dots you have, the straighter your line is going to be. If you want to keep adding more dots, you can. You just have to keep on rising 2 and going to the right 3. Or you can go the opposite direction. You go down 2 and to the left 3. Connect your dots, and you have your line. Alright, so let's try y equals -3x plus 2. So again, draw a little graph. Y goes vertically, so we label it y. X goes horizontally, so we'll label that axis x. You have to identify two pieces. You have to identify your slope and your y-intercept. So slope is always the number in front of x. So in front of x, we have -3, but slope needs to be a fraction. So you can always put 1 underneath any number. So you have your slope being -3 over 1. And your y-intercept is this +2. So what this means is you're going to start at 2 on the y-axis. So on the y line, you're going to go find where 2 is and put a dot. So that's right here. We have our little blue dot. From this dot, since our slope is -3 over 1, we're going to drop down 3. We're going to go down 1, 2, 3, and then to the right 1 and put a dot there. Since it's negative, we go down. The 1, it's positive, so we'll go to the right. So down 3, right 1. To get to the next dot, do the same thing. Down 3 more. 1, 2, 3, right 1. Connect your dots, you got your line. Alright, so let's say we have y equals x minus 3. X-axis runs side to side, y-axis runs up and down again. It always does that. So we're going to start with slope and y-intercept. So your slope is the number in front of x. When there's not a number in front of this letter, in front of an x, it's always going to be 1 over 1. It's always going to be 1, which we can turn into a fraction, 1 over 1. And then our y-intercept is going to be -3. So that means when we graph this, we start at -3 on the y-axis. So go down to -3, put a dot. From there, we go up 1, right 1. We can keep going. And we have our line. All right, so from -3, we go up 1, right 1. Up 1, right 1. All right, so let's try this one. Y equals to 3. So we're going to identify our slope and our y-intercept. So this time the slope, there is none because there's no x variable. What this equation says is that you have y equals to 3. So that means no matter what x is, your y value will always be 3. So your slope is 0, your y-intercept is 3. So since your y-intercept is 3, you're going to start at 3 on the y-axis. You're not rising anywhere, right? Because your slope is 0 over 1. So you're not rising, but you still go over 1. So it's going to be a horizontal line. So what that means is all of our x value, regardless of which number you're looking at on the x-axis, your y value for that point is going to be 3. Right, so what if we have x equals -2? So this one's going to be the opposite of that. When you have x equals a number, that means you're going to go on the x-axis, put your dot there, and then it's going to be a vertical line, straight up and down. All of our x values will be -2. We don't have any other x values because you have x equals -2. All right, so one more example, y equals x. We're going to identify two things again, m and b. So m is the number in front of x. In front of x, you don't see a number, so that means you have 1 over 1. And then your y-intercept, you don't have a number by itself, so that makes it 0. So you would start at the origin, at the center. From there, you go up 1, right 1. And then you keep on doing the same thing, so up 1 more, right 1 more. The more dots you got, the straighter your line is going to be. Alright, hope that helps. See you in the next video.